This message is brought to you by Apple Pay. No matter where you're going this summer, odds are you'll need to pay for a few things, like a ride share, a souvenir, or dinner at that spot on your bucket list. Instead of digging in your wallet every time, just use Apple Pay. It's accepted anywhere you see the contactless symbol, and all it takes is a tap with your iPhone or Apple Watch. The best part is you'll still earn the card rewards, points, and cashbacks you love. Easy setup now, easier travels later with Apple Pay. Terms apply.
On today's show, the Ringerverse is about to get Ringer ugly. Weeks away from the release of Superman and Fantastic Four, a different Marvel vs. DC battle is about to take place in the court of law. Mr. Lathan and Holmes of Midnight and Sons contend the success of the new Superman movie is more important to the superhero genre than Fantastic Four. Defending Marvel's first family and the MCU's honor are the upstart lawyers, Mr. Adeniran and Mr. Ahlman. Welcome to Midnight Court.
Please all rise for the Honorable Judge Fennessey.
The court may be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today. Look forward to your arguments.
Thank you.
So today we are contesting the case of, is Superman or Fantastic Four First Steps more important for the future of superhero movies? Who will be presenting their cases to the court today?
Your Honor, my very talented partner, Mr. Lathan, and I will be defending Superman and James Gunn.
From Adeniran and Ahlman, I am Adeniran, this is Ahlman, and we'll be defending the great honor of Fantastic Four, The First Steps.
Look forward to your arguments. Mr. Lathan, did your suit get stuck at the cleaners?
It did, sir.
I see.
It did.
Must have been with my robe.
Yeah, with your robe. It's Casual Fridays in the court today, even though it's Wednesday.
Well, it's Friday when this is coming out. So.
Yeah, well, then Casual Fridays was right. I was right the first time. I have to be right.
You guys want to go first, or should we go first?
Well, I mean, opening statements, it's up to the court.
It's up to the judge.
Let's have Mr. Lathan and Mr. Holmes present their opening arguments to begin.
Okay. Your Honor, opposing counsel, audience, I'd like to start my opening statements with a question. To you, Your Honor, to everyone. What's the difference between excitement and water? You have an answer, Judge?
It's not my responsibility to answer your
excuse me, I
questions,
apologize.
sir. Please present your arguments.
Expertly stated.
Thank you. Well, the answer is very clear. One is something that you want. The other is something that you need. Any life should have excitement, but every life must have water. What I would say is that in this case between the Fantastic Four and Superman, what we're really litigating here is the difference between a want and a need. Do we want a good Fantastic Four movie? Sure. They're fun. It's a gaggle of laughs, it's family together, different powers. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. It's a part of the superhero fabric. But Superman is a hero that we need now and have always needed. We need Superman. Superman is a mythology that harkens back to some of the earliest mythologies in human history. It asks, what if a being so singularly powerful had to commune with ordinary people? What would this being do? How would this being comport itself? What would this being make its goal? Rather, is humanity enough to curb the appetites that humanity sometimes defines? Can we be better than ourselves? Can we be powerful? Can we be the thing that we aspire to being? That's why Superman continues to come back. That's why there is a Golden Age Superman, a Silver Age Superman, a modern Superman, a postmodern Superman. That's why when there's too much time between Supermen, we have to reinvent it because we want to keep coming back to ourselves. We want to keep asking the question, is humanity enough? And that's what the character does. The character takes this person, this being with godlike powers, and it takes the best qualities of us, puts it in that person, and then has it join our community. We'll never stop having Superman. We'll never stop looking to the sky. We'll never stop wanting not to be saved, but to be in community, because Superman is one of us. You guys, the Fantastic Four they don't measure up like that. It's not the same thing, okay? It's actually the response to that. It's actually, oh my God, truth, justice in the American way. Let's try to do something for the kids. Let's have Rockman. Let's have Stretchy Man. Let's have a Invisible Lady and Fireman. 4 people added up can't do what Superman does either on the page or in society. That's why when we're talking about getting back down to the brass tacks of superheroes, which is what this post-Endgame superhero film era is about, the most important thing for us to do is start at the beginning. The first and the best, that is Kal-El from the planet Krypton, that is Superman. That's my open.
Thank you, Counselor. Strong words, as expected. For the side of Fantastic Four, Adeniran and Ahlman, you're up.
Thank you, Judge. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, while we are here to argue necessity, as opposing counsel has eloquently stated, we're not here to argue about nostalgia. Let's be quite frank. Superman is a safe bet. Might say too safe. He's had 9 movies, many of which have been origin stories. They've been known since before color television. Wow. And while that's not exactly exciting, it's more of muscle memory for popular culture. Fantastic Four, though, that's family. That's family values. And it's one thing that we've been waiting to get right for a very long time. 3 official films, none exactly worth writing home about. But until now, this isn't just a movie, this is Marvel's Hail Mary. One that we've been waiting to get right for many years. While the recent MCU entries have been either forgotten critically, like Thunderbolts, or flopped, like Captain America, it's this one that actually needs to be gotten right. What are the stakes, you might ask? Well, Kevin Feige said himself that getting this movie right is the most important thing to him right now. I think that stands very, very important. No real cheat codes as far as nostalgia plays or CGI dogs to pluck at your heartstrings. No. A family, man, woman, child, rocky uncle, and a brash, on-fire nephew that not that many people can argue with. Mm-hmm. But for Superman, they're playing with house money. Fantastic Four is here to bet the house. And with today's evidence, I think you can prove that the thing that we need right now is the Fantastic Four. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. I'll open with a brief series of interrogations of those opening arguments. Counselor Lathan and Holmes, I'd like to start with you. Wow. Counselor Lathan, you noted that the best of us goes into Superman. Yeah. I'll note that not only is Superman a man, but he's a white man, as rendered in all these films. Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
So this is what I have to say. First of all, first thing is everybody here is white. All these heroes are white.
Slight objection. The thing is orange, Your Honor.
Yeah. And what was the last Human Torch?
Orange as well, with the flames that emit from his body.
Right. Black man. Wow.
Counselor,
you don't even know your own stuff.
The objection is sustained.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, listen. Now I can do a whole history of the deconstruction of the word "we" and how white supremacy and colonialism and imperialism. And
that's not on trial today.
Okay. I could deconstruct that, but let me tell you what I mean when I say "we." It doesn't matter where you go. if you take the mythology of the strong man who can do anything, if you take John Henry, the steel driving man, if you take some of the African American mythology that the African mythology that we've seen, some of the folklore that we've seen, what I'm essentially saying is that, a long time ago, human beings were looking around and realizing these gargantuan problems that they had, and they were asking themselves how they were going to solve these problems. And sometimes they came together to solve these problems, but sometimes they thought and they wished and they wanted for something bigger to come solve those problems for them and with them. You could almost argue, if you are not a religious person as I am, that is the beginning of religion. And when I say we, what I'm talking about is our belief that something so powerful can be so good is very fundamental, which is why we keep coming back to the story of Superman and even Batman. Batman, who has $1 billion and we want to believe would still care about what's going on in the streets of Gotham, when really he would have stock in Palantir. So what I'm saying is that the fundamental nature of this one single thing that communes with us, that wants to be one of us, whose humanity is its biggest strength, is something that takes us further than these characters that were created when someone was having an LSD trip in the West Village in 1962.
Objection. Relevancy. What does it have to do? He was doing drugs.
What are you talking to me? You object to him.
Objection. Relevancy. What's with the drugs talk?
Overruled. Cultural context matters in the
Thank you, Judge.
of these debates.
LSD is very culturally relevant to the one Jack Kirby, so I would say.
Counselor Ahlman, question for you. You noted that there have been 3 previous installments of the Fantastic Four films. There was a 4th in the late 1980s as well, as produced by Roger Corman.
Yes.
Never actually made it to the big screen. All 4 of those iterations were largely considered creatively and financially failures. Mm-hmm. Why do we need another Fantastic Four movie in light of those failures?
Very good question. I would say that the failures of the prior entries of the Fantastic Four actually would speak to its importance for it to get right in this modern era. The reason that the Fantastic Four have had so many at-bats, ultimately failed ones, is because of its endearing quality and love from its fans in the comic books. It's been endearing for decades, and it's had many of some of the most highly regarded arcs in the Marvel canon, and one that people are still waiting for to have. They would not be enlisting Hollywood's biggest star on the rise, Pedro Pascal, to helm this adventure with his family, and it just speaks to how important it is.
Counselors Lathan and Holmes, the DCEU was hot garbage.
Yeah.
They're attempting to turn the ship around right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I believe that this regime will be any better than the one that came before it?
Well, Your Honor, I think because the person at the helm right now has introduced a very, very, very important fact. These movies, and when I say these movies, the MCU, have gotten so muddled, so critically panned, because they are not making movies for the people. They're making it for a balance sheet. They are not saying, do we have a story to tell? They are saying, we need to hit a date. So we are going into production without fully realized scripts. I believe I have it here that one James Gunn said, I do believe that the reason why the movie industry is dying is not because of the people not wanting to see movies. It's not because of home screens getting so good. The number one reason is because people are making movies without a finished screenplay. And at a time when superhero movies are in such a drought, do we want to count on 2 more Avengers films that are being rushed into theaters without finished scripts, without any idea where they're going to land? Or do we want to trust James Gunn, who has been at the MCU, has seen all of the mistakes that they've made, and is doing his best to right those wrongs?
Avengers films are not on trial, Your Honor. I just want to make that clear. We're talking about Superman and Fantastic
No, Counselor,
Four.
they're not, but the Fantastic Four film may be. So I'll follow up that answer with a question for you. Matt Shakman is the director of the Fantastic Four First Steps. Mm-hmm. How many films has he directed?
So that's a great question, Your Honor.
Answer the question, Counselor.
That's a great question, Your Honor. I would posit that listen,
Wow.
What we're really talking about here. What we're really talking about here. As Matt Shackman, I remember...
Counselor, the answer to the question is 0. He's directed 0
You need
films.
some water over there, Mr. Adeniran?
Sure, but that's not what's on trial here, right? Matt, if I recall correctly, we did a little conversation about our favorite film or movie, and we got to ask a question about our favorite shows.
Counselor, would you like a
shows.
recess?
No, I'm good. We had a little
Light's
question.
a little too bright at midnight court.
Your Mr. Lathan, if I recall correctly, you said that WandaVision was your favorite television show
Yes.
to come out in the last forever, really.
Yeah.
Of fandom stuff, right?
Fandom stuff, yes.
Now, can I ask you who directed that show?
Matt Shackman.
Matt Shackman, interesting. I just want to make sure that's on the record.
This is not the midnight court of television, sir.
no,
Sir,
no, it's
About to
not.
say,
But the director of WandaVision is Matt Shackman, who was director of Fantastic Four, someone who you view in high regard.
Not only
right?
does that director know his way around the Marvel canon, but I would refer to both the judge and opposing counsel that all a director needs is one movie to be good. How many movies did Quentin Tarantino make before he made Reservoir Dogs? 0.
Actually,
and yet,
that's not true. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He did direct it.
But
It's okay, a lot of game left.
we're working here.
right. But okay, so this is what I would say to that, and I think it's a very I'm going to give opposing counsel credit for an astute point. We're talking about two different art forms. Obviously, we're talking about the watch versus the big pick. We're talking about someone who has shown that they can do it in television.
Mm-hmm.
And look, maybe Matt can make a great superhero movie. Maybe he can make a superhero movie that for Marvel right now restores the feeling. But when we're talking about this particular movie with these particular characters, I'm saying he has a lot harder of a job. The entire experiment of this superhero thing is based upon one film, and that is Superman the movie, directed by Richard Donner. And we keep trying to make people feel that same feeling. And we're going to keep chasing it until we do it. James Gunn has shown that he has the emotional gravitas, the pen, and the way to put characters that are beloved into very compromising and conflicting situations to make me believe Matt Shackman has something to prove, which James Gunn doesn't. That'll be good.
Which would make Matt Shackman this more important for him than James Gunn. Because if James Gunn
arguing,
fails...
is it more important for Matt Shackman or James Gunn, or whether Superman or Fantastic Four is more important for superheroes?
Right. So if you're James Gunn, you've already made good superhero movies. You don't need Superman to go crazy. Superman can do whatever it might, and people will still be like, James Gunn makes good superhero movies. For Matt Shackman and Marvel, if this does not work, you have to reevaluate everything. It all comes back.
That would be true, except for one fact. The fact that James Gunn now has a different role, not just as filmmaker, but as head of a studio, which is the DCU, a part of a studio, should I say, the vertical of a studio, should I say, which has completely changed his position in Hollywood. If this experiment fails, it is not just an experiment that is a failure in terms of the movie itself or the movies. It's an experiment that fails that is central to the reputation of James Gunn in Hollywood. Can you write a good script? Make a good movie? Yes. Can you be someone that orients a universe around your filmmaking style, your narrative style, your visual style, and the way that you view these things in the specific part of mythology and cultural lore that you say you love the most, which is the superhero movie? Can you do this? It is the test of his entire career, what he's doing like this. Matt Shackman is just another director.
And I will just also add, to that, Fantastic Four is proving to audiences whether there's still meat on the MCU bone. I would argue that Superman, in terms of the town and culture, is proving whether people have appetites for superhero movies going forward. We're talking about a bigger scale. People are going to go see Spider-Man. They're going to go see Avengers. These are proven billion-dollar franchises in the modern times. What James Gunn is trying to prove is that there is more meat on the bone for superheroes in general. This is the little time versus some big boy shit.
I don't think any of that is true, actually.
If we were to apply that logic, then that means that the individual superhero fare, such as the Fantastic Four, could equally have that same amount of weight because of the fact that if anything outside of the Avengers or outside of a Spider-Man film bombs, then the entire exercise is irrelevant. So therefore, we need something like the Fantastic Four to actually buoy the non-tentpole films.
I would like to ask the opposing counsel, a quick question. Yes. And maybe to you as well, Judge.
I'll ask the questions here, Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get beat up.
If you'd like to posit an argument that requires response, feel free. In the meantime, stick to making your case.
Wow. Jesus. My fault, OG. Counsel, or Your Honor, can I ask you a question?
You may.
If you had to pick the Mount Rushmore of superhero or comic book characters, who would be on your 4?
I'm not answering that question, Counselor. I'm not paid to do such a thing.
Thank you.
Jesus.
We're here to have a very specific sort of conversation, not provide additional content for the Midnight Boys on behalf of the Big Picture co-host.
Whoa! Wow.
There is a time and place for that sort of episode, and we will make that episode when it is deemed necessary. Now, please continue to make your argument, sir.
Man.
You mentioned that characters like Spider-Man will always get movies. People always come out to see those movies. People do the same for Superman. This will be, the 9th iteration of Superman movies throughout the eons. People continually come to watch the movies. People have identities with these movies. One of our, again, Mr. Lathan, one of his favorite is Superman. He loves the Christopher Reeve Superman character. Yes. He has that.
Yes.
Right? We don't have a Fantastic Four. As much as you guys hate on me personally for enjoying the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, for most of the people in listening, and they have no attachment to these characters. This is the first time that people are going to have an opportunity and a real, actual chance to fall in love with these characters for real. That means something. If Superman does not work, in a couple years, we'll get another Superman movie. If Fantastic Four does not work, we're looking at it like, is this the death of these characters that we have worked so hard to get to the screen?
Can I respond
Counselor
to that?
Adeniran?
Mr. Adeniran.
Very strong point.
Thank you.
Now, what I will say to that, if the Fantastic Four doesn't work, yes, it is a hit for the MCU. It is a hit for a lot of different people.
That's a good point.
I would contend if Superman does not work, it is a hit on DC Comics characters and superheroes. An entire movie studio, Warner Brothers, takes a cultural hit. And then movie theaters and the Hollywood-going public take a hit. And what I mean by that, would you please let me finish, Mr. Ahlman?
Ooh,
thank you. Right now, because actually, is it all right if I bring a witness up?
You may.
All right, I would like to bring one Bob Iger to the stand. And I have one question for Mr. Bob Iger.
Is he here?
He was under his...
I know him a little bit.
Mr. Iger, could you please explain to the court how you hobbled the movie-going experience and the business for so many people?
Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ.
I think in our zeal to basically grow our content significantly to serve our mostly our streaming offerings, we ended up taxing our people way beyond, in terms of their time and their focus, way beyond where they had been. Marvel's a great example of that. They had not been in the TV business at any significant level. Not only did they increase their movie output, but they ended up making a number of television series. And frankly, it diluted focus and attention.
So what I want to focus us on is when Iger says it diluted. What did it dilute? Well, to me, superheroes were a cinematic experience. And then with Creed on Disney Plus and streaming, we taught an entire generation of moviegoers that these heroes that we love to pay to see in theaters were small enough to fit in the palm of our hands. Now, I would like to pass around some exhibits. I will pass this around to the Your Honor as well.
Asked to approach the bench.
Yeah, he didn't even
Didn't even ask
how
to
come
approach
I'm
the
the only
bench.
one getting yelled at? This is crazy.
Thank you, Counselor.
It's the suit. You were crazy.
Men's Warehouse.
The exhibits that I'm showing you, the first two charts are charts of how DC and the MCU have performed domestically. The third chart is what superheroes have made since, I believe, the early 2000s in terms of the global box office. The reason that I put these exhibits in front of you is that Bob Iger has already said, we've released too much. We need to go back to 2 MCU movies. We have to go back to 1 or 2 Disney Plus shows. But if you will see on the third graph about the cumulative global money that superhero movies have brought, where are we going to get, what is going to fill that gap? If Superman doesn't succeed, if Batman doesn't succeed, if Supergirl doesn't succeed, where's this money coming from? You could say video games, children's content are doing well this year, but it is still very, very, very tricky.
So you're making the point that the MCU has almost used, I didn't want to use a vile term.
Well,
not
if
in
you
your,
would, if
not
you
in
would
your
let me
spot.
finish my point, what I was going to
Wow.
say is that what the MCU has done is proven that there can be too much of this content. The same wash, rinse, cycle, repeat. The audience has told us with Thunderbolts, with Captain America, with Eternals, with all of these movies,
Right.
this is too much. We do not want this. We want something new.
Okay.
James Gunn and Superman presents something new. It presents, hey, there's a different way to tell these stories. And I believe that given time, these movies can become the next MCU. The reason I gave you also the difference between the MCU and the DCU movies is what we can see is that people want to see these movies.
Right.
There just hasn't been a vision yet.
Right. So your
There has
entire
not been a creative person at the helm like Kevin Feige to shepherd these superheroes in the DC stable like they need to.
Your entire
And
argument-
I would say
Whoa.
I would rather invest in the
Your
new.
entire argument is that the MCU is so stepped on, right? That the product is bad, which would mean for us that if it's that bad, then that means Fantastic Four is even more important. Because if they've shown over the last couple of years they can't really shepherd universe, that means that this is the movie. This is the moment that if they're going to show us that, hey, we're back, we're making real stuff again, it will be Fantastic Four.
I would say
You
that
mentioned-
wouldn't be that
you-
would not
you
be a
mentioned-
Robert Downey Jr. star in Avengers film.
You mentioned Thunderbolts
Yes.
and Cap 4. Both movies that also came out this year, which Cap 4 was reviled by critics and did not make that much bread. And while favorably people enjoyed Thunderbolts, did not make no money.
Yes.
Right? And so now they have the last film of the year coming up in Fantastic Four coming out July 24th. This is the moment. This is the time when they have to course correct everybody, be like, actually, all that other stuff, that was fake. This is who we are. This is what we do.
So I want to put more faith in the company that put us in this position in the first place, or bet my money on someone who's left the MCU, knows all of their mistakes, is the last person who has made a good movie over there, James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So I would rather support that man.
Gentlemen,
Sorry, decorum, yes.
order in this court.
I would just like to say the point you're making
My apologies, Your
is
Honor.
that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is so down deep in the mud that no matter what the Fantastic Four do, it doesn't matter that it's over.
No, what my argument is that the MCU and Disney has put us in a position where the audience is saying, we don't want Marvel heroes, and that is hurting the entire ecosystem.
We don't want Marvel heroes.
Wait.
Right? But they might, okay, you're saying they don't want Marvel heroes. That's why this movie's so important. This will show people that they need these superheroes back in their lives.
Allow me to interject here. This is the way I would distill the argument. The Fantastic Four are IP,
Superman's IP.
kind of.
That's disrespectful.
Wait, this is just
That's disrespectful.
Can I get a ruling on this?
Blatant-
Are we doing IP?
Blatant
Can I-
negating
can
of
I-
the facts.
Can I extrapolate the argument?
Counsel, you may make your case, but Superman is in fact IP.
He is. But I would argue that he's more than that. I'd argue that the reason why James Gunn, who had his pick of characters to start his DCU with, the reason why he told Superman is because he believes that if you can't tell a good Superman story anymore, that the only thing left is IP. What I mean is this. If you cannot believe or make people believe that the most powerful being on the planet wants to hug you or wants to play with and have fun with his dog, then essentially what we're doing is just retreading old stories to sell toys and to sell cartoons and to sell popcorn buckets. But if you can make people believe, who want to believe, who look out in the world right now and are actually waiting for Superman, who want to believe, if you can make them believe in this character again, then you can reset the dynamic of the comic book movie. You can reset the dynamic of the storytelling. You do something new by doing something old. The story of Superman is no different than the story of Neo. It's no different than the story of John McClane. A guy who seemingly has, I watched Die Hard, John McClane gotta be superhuman. He gotta be from another planet. He has a superhuman wit, a superhuman aim, a superhuman ability to evaluate a situation, all of that. But you have to believe that more than anything else, he just wants to save the day. Fantastic Four are cool. Like Captain America is cool. Iron Man is cool. All of these characters are cool characters who, through a lot of cinematic and story interrogation, you can make people believe in the things they already know about Superman. That they already know. And so I think the reason why James Gunn didn't start again with Batman, probably because of some other reasons, maybe he would have, I don't know. But it's because he wants to make superheroes, I don't even want to say it does this, he wants to make them matter now. I was going to say again, but then that gets into a whole nother thing. He wants to make superheroes matter in a way that we know that they should. So that's the reason why you start with him. That's the reason why this movie needs to work. And that's the reason why, if this movie doesn't work,
we may not get more.
We in trouble, girl. If this movie doesn't work, if we can't just get back to the basics, then how can we make ourselves believe that the more complicated shit is going to work?
Counselors Holmes and Lathan, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm ready for it.
The previous three filmmakers who've been credited as directors on Superman projects are as follows: Bryan Singer,
Yeah.
Zack Snyder,
Mhm.
and Joss Whedon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you address the sort of person that is attracted to the Superman mythos?
I can. Well, number one, that's the problem. And I'm not going to add, I don't think that we're going to act like that Superman as a character is not without its problems.
Complicated.
One of the problems is that the connection that people feel to the character is so intense that a lot of times people overdo it. With the Snyder movie, what you had is a movie that relied too much on the nostalgia and the blueprint from a filmmaker before him and didn't even give the character a contemporary voice at all. Then you had the Snyder Superman, which was a reaction to that portrayal that gave us a high testosterone, barely emotional, glum, weirdly, I don't care about people Superman that people could not latch on to. And then you got Whedon, who between being a horrible person was just trying to fix the character. What you've never got, or what you haven't seen yet, is a Superman's Superman, a character that has its own worldview, a character that is reacting to what's going on in its world, and a character that is a hero for its time. That is what James Gunn is attempting to do. And what I am saying is that that attempt is just incredibly important because we live in complicated times when we don't know who our heroes are. And establishing a hero that we could all get behind that's more than just, you know, the Hail Mary of a studio, I think is very important, which is why he started there. Chuck?
The only thing I would add to that is I'm super excited for the Fantastic Four, but I think there's a difference between a movie being merely a chapter that is trying to get us to another multiversal mumbo jumbo. Hey, I have fun at the movies too. But to Mr. Lathan's point, I think getting a character back to the roots, doing something simple, proving that, hey, at the end of the day, sometimes it is as simple as a hero protecting a small child, saving a dog in a tree. Sometimes you don't need all of the bullshit that comes along with having 30 plus movies and trying to tie them all together.
Counselor, please restrain yourself from such language
I
in
knew
my
that
court.
was
Sorry.
Jesus
I get
Christ, you're in
Your
court.
Honor, I apologize to the court. I get passionate about things I believe in
Judge
truly
Fennessey,
like
you didn't like
Superman.
that.
This is really rich coming from you two. As far as we know, the characters.
Objection, Your Honor. What bearing does this have on the case?
Rich coming
Can
from
I
us.
can I speak?
Can you speak without attacking opposing counsel?
I just feel that it's really funny that you mentioned the simplicity of your movie when, according to IMDb, you've got Superman, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, all makes sense. Wait, is that Green Lantern in this movie? Is that Hot Girl? Mr. Terrific? There seems like a lot going on for your film, and you're attacking us for being a simple movie about a first family. I don't think that's really fair.
Counselors Adeniran and Ahlman, let me ask you this question. You've heard from this group why Superman is a story that we need now. The materials that we've seen from Fantastic Four suggest a retro-futurist, a hidden past, an alternate past in our experience as Americans. That doesn't seem very contemporary. Why is the Fantastic Four important right now?
Well, I think the importance of the Fantastic Four being brought forward to a modern context with a retro-futuristic backdrop is exactly the reason why it can remain more important. The values that the family actually bring into that context, a retro-futurist, an alternate timeline, a different world that doesn't exist in our time, can have a bigger impact on the wider world at large. And much like Superman coming from a foreign planet, landing on Earth and imparting the best of us, they impart their ideals and family love and values towards other people. And it's through that unity that we look to those heroes, not just for safety, but heroism and love.
To add on to that, we spent many years watching the Avengers and other so-called teams, Thunderbolts, go through their films, and then we feel together. It feels more like a workplace than it does a family. This is probably the first time in MCU history where we actually have a real family fighting for each other and laying down their lives for each other.
And not some engineered via cameo or plot development of wild confusion as to why one cosmic hero may interact with another and to simply bolster up brand recognition. This family is the brand.
Well, can I just say very, very quickly, I find it very rich that Mr. Ahlman would like to go back to the 1960s because I know of a couple races and a couple different people where that was a very fraught time.
Your Honor.
So I'm just saying, I would not like to whitewash history just to make you feel better.
I would also like to add that saying that a family in no way laid down their lives for each other in the MCU is it's very upsetting to Quicksilver, to Odin, Frigga, to all the rest of the families that we've seen.
Is
ripped
Guardians
apart.
of the Galaxy not a family just because they're not blood related?
Ripped apart by the happenings of what went on. Quicksilver died. And his sister had to watch it. And then you have the temerity right here to sit right here, Mr. Holmes, and say that we've never seen a family ripped apart in the MCU. How dare you? We have seen it. And by the way, I'll tell you something right now. We're kind of sick of it. You know what we want? We want as a farm boy from Kansas to rise up and get all of his superhero friends together. Because you guys are telling me that the Superman movie is too complicated. Sir, what universe does your movie take place in?
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You don't know.
Don't even. What timeline does it exist in?
Where does it come from? Too complicated. Reed Richards is going to.
Do you know if Superman's world is Earth 1 or Earth 52?
They don't know.
They don't know.
Would you like to let me finish? Did I interrupt you?
Kind of, yeah.
Gentlemen, please.
Okay. Reed Richards is going to introduce no less than 52 different inventions. He's going to tell you math and the sacred geometry and all of that. You're gonna have to go in there with a Kip Thorne Bible and bring Neil deGrasse Tyson with you. It's gonna be very heady, guys. Okay, the movie's gonna be heady. Franklin Richards, reality warper. Hi, my name is Stewie. I'm from Boise, Idaho. I just got here. I'm 11. What does it mean to warp reality? We'll tell you through exposition. Guess what?
Which version of Silver Surfer is this,
It's
gentlemen?
Why does the Silver Surfer have C cups? We don't know. So what I'm saying is
Anything can be anything.
Which, by the way, I support it.
Counselor, we will not body shame Silver Surfer.
Absolutely not body shame Silver Surfer.
We love. All right, Mr. Ahlman and Mr. Adeniran hate C cups, but over here at Midnight Sun, we love C cups.
Objection.
We love
strike that from the record.
I'm saying
I'll be very clear.
I'm saying
We love C cups.
Members of the jury, please disregard all mention of C cups in this presentation today.
Your Honor, if I may distill my point in 30 seconds, it is just that Hawk man, we know, Hawk girl, we know. We're not introducing any characters that people are not familiar with. They're not going to have to get their own origin stories. Might they wonder why there's a black guy with a skin condition in the movie? Yeah, they might. But then we'll just say he's Mr. Terrific, and then that's the deal. It's simple. It's back to our roots. It's Lex Luthor. He's bald. Come on, man.
It's crypto. It's classic. Do you guys hate dogs?
What's more classic for the
Dogs are
Fantastic
not on
Four?
trial here, Counselor Holmes.
Wow.
What's more?
I think dogs are on trial every day.
In
How we
the-
treat
in
them in
James
this
Gunn
country.
films, they are.
We should
All
treat
right.
them better. That's all I'm saying.
What's more classic than a Fantastic Four story where they're fighting Silver Surfer and Galactus?
Superman, America, apple motherfucking pie?
Okay. Really?
What's more classic
You
than
want to be,
Superman?
you want to be
And
Team
what
America
America-
now?
You're- yeah, now you
want
support
to be
America?
Team America
Could
now?
I say
Counselor,
something?
one more F-bomb and you'll be censured by this court.
Wow. Wow.
I did not know we
I
were
will say this.
censoring, but I
If
guess
you were,
in this
if you were asking me a question, and the question was, what's more regular American, what's more comic book than the Fantastic Four versus Silver Surfer and Galactus? The answer is very simply Superman versus Lex Luthor. And that is unimpeachable. The answer is very simple.
Not your movie.
Superman versus Lex Luthor.
Who's the engineer?
What we
Gentlemen, we're too far down the rabbit hole.
very true.
It's nearly time for closing arguments.
Wow.
Wow. Can we make one more point?
I would love that.
That's
need
very
one more
specific.
point.
Every time you guys talk, it's better for us. Go ahead.
Is this a point that can be made in your closing argument, sir?
Probably not, but you're the judge.
I'll
so
allow it.
Great, fantastic. We have
I'll
had
allow it. You can do that.
many
if you
a
want.
conversation about one Pedro Pascal here on this little feed here. Yeah. We have talked about him ad nauseum the last couple of weeks.
What of his work in Materialists? What have you said?
Me personally,
Slight
I
objection to
think
relevance.
no. I think that he was perfectly cast in that role.
You just object to the judge.
That was kind of trying to push past that. I would argue that he was cast perfectly in that role, and he brought nuances and actual height, no spoilers, to the movie that it needed. Okay, one person on our little bench here would say that he was not only miscast, but is ugly as hell.
No. Objection, Your Honor.
Let them continue to lie. It's okay.
Mr. Lathan said he was less hot than Richard Gere.
Right, but you know what that
And
meant.
Pretty Woman.
And we know what that went. And he also doesn't.
Objection is sustained. Richard Gere is significantly more beautiful than Pedro Pascal. Continue, Counselor.
The point I'm trying to make is they've been trying to make Pedro Pascal a thing for a minute now. He is the hottest man in Hollywood in terms of being in Materialists, The Last of Us, the Mando and Grogu movie that's coming out in the next couple of years.
Of which he was absolutely on set for.
Right, he was definitely there for that. This is
What
the
about
moment.
Ari Aster's Eddington?
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was also in that movie that I've definitely seen. This is the moment for Pedro Pascal. If the movie comes out and it's not it, and Pedro Pascal's not doing it, oh man.
Objection.
That is
This is what relevance does this have to
So?
our argument?
What?
We're not litigating Pedro Pascal.
We're not
Superman and Fantastic Four.
I'm
Like,
saying
it's
the
like, what-
stakes.
Yes.
The stakes for him are not the same for any of the actors in the stakes of your
Who
movie.
gives a shit?
Sir, please.
I'm sorry.
We apologize, Your Honor.
We're sorry. But who cares? So what? So what?
America
the line
cares.
producer on Fantastic Four, he needs it too. Who couldn't? Well, so.
All right, gentlemen. We're all a bit punch drunk. I think it's time for closing arguments.
Jesus
Going
Christ.
first will be Lathan and Holmes because they went first last time around.
Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way.
Oh my God.
I don't know about y'all, but when I look outside my window, it seems lately we've strayed from the American way, from our ideals. When I look outside, I see a lot of things: hatred, despair. But most importantly, I see old institutions with even older ideas afraid to give way to the future, to hope, to something new. Y'all love the MCU, and we're excited to see Marvel's first family come home. And don't you worry, I will be there opening day to support. But let's not forget why we are here today. This isn't an argument about which movie we're more excited to see or which one is more consequential to lore or narrative. We're here to debate whether America is ready to support and build something better and cast off old, tired, broken down horses that are too slow and cumbersome to pivot at one of the most pivotal times for superheroes. Under the watchful eye of James Gunn and Peter Safran, we are on the precipice of raising the standards for superhero movies again. For far too long, we've dealt with crumbs, unfinished screenplays, shoddy CGI, abandoned plot lines, meandering shows.
Harry Styles.
But we can do better. Superman might not be the flashiest hero. He's not grim and gritty like Batman. He doesn't throw quips and banter like Spider-Man. But there's no doubt in my mind that he's our most important hero in 2025. And why? Because he represents the one thing we need now more than ever as a people. And that is hope. Thank you for your time.
Does that's what the S means on the chest is hope?
You already know it.
Okay.
It's not an S.
All right, it's not an S. It means hope.
Your turn, sir.
First off, I want to thank my constituents, Councilor Ahlman, opposing counsel.
You're not a politician.
You didn't use the right word.
Push past it.
This is the last time. It's the last time I
He's
do
running a
this.
town hall.
Over the last hour, you've heard debates, conversations, and discussions about whether Fantastic Four or Superman will be the most important movie of the summer. Councilor Ahlman and I have shown, without a shadow of a doubt, that obviously Fantastic Four will be the more important movie of the summer. But we had help. We had help from these two gentlemen right here. Councilor Holmes said that the MCU product has been stepped on and ruined by greed and laziness. Does this not make Fantastic Four the last bastion of hope for the MCU? Does that not make this movie the last grasp at reaching an audience that's already shown that they might be bored, that their time might be up? You mentioned, Councilor Lathan, there's Golden Age Superman, a Silver Age Superman, a Bronze Superman, a Donner Superman, Snyder Superman. Every people have had their version of Superman. Now people get their chance at a Fantastic Four, a real family.
They've had 3 chances.
Not any that you've connected with. That's all. That's all I got. It's over.
That's the end of your statement?
That's the end of my statement.
I see. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, your thought, your ideas, your optimism, your intentionality,
Yeah.
your wardrobes,
Most of us.
and most especially your words today. Is it up to me now to make a decision, or do the people make a decision?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, these were vigorous defenses of the two most important movies, not just to this summer movie season or to the future of the superhero movie, but frankly to the Midnight Boys. Because as I look upon the state of popular culture, and I am forced to sit through every single superhero movie ever made.
Come on.
And I think about a world in which both of these films fail to live up to expectations. I see potentially golden harvests, flowing rivers, blue skies. But this is not about me. This is about what you had to say today. And after reviewing both of your arguments, it's clear to me now that the most important film to come this summer for the future of superhero movies is Superman.
Let's go! Let's fucking go!
Thank you very much. This court is adjourned.
Hell yeah!